Advance written notice of this meeting of the Pennsauken Township Board of Education was sent to the Courier Post and Philadelphia Inquirer. Notice appeared in the legal notice section of the Courier Post stating the time, date, location, and formal action will be taken at that time. Notice was also posted with the Township Clerk. As President, I declare this to be a legal meeting of the Board of Education. Roll call, Mr. Robert.
Mr. Brown. Present. Mr. Kofoot. Mr. McDevitt.
Here.
Dr. Maloney.
Here.
Mr. Stargent.
Here.
Mr. James Wilson. Mr. Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Wynn. Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
Quorum.
Mr. Kofoot and Mr. Nguyen informed the board that they would not be able to attend tonight. Mrs. James Wilson informed the board that she would be running a little bit late. Public comment, agenda items only. Pennsauken Township Board of Education recognizes that schools are the concern of all members of the community. With this in mind, the Board of Education welcomes and solicits input from the public during the regular monthly business meeting. Members of the community are afforded an opportunity to express their views. It does, however, respectfully suggest that citizens attempt to resolve concerns by speaking directly to school administrators before bringing it to the board. Individuals with a relevant interest in the functions or duties of the board are invited to speak a maximum of 5 minutes on any one issue. You are required to give your name and address before speaking.
Not at this time.
Mr. President, seeing no public input, I would like to make a motion that we close the public portion.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Oberg, that passed unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
Report of committees of the Board of Education.
Mr. President, I'd like to give my report from the Federal Relations Conference in Washington, D.C. Let the board know that there were many school board members from almost every state in attendance. The conference was a whirlwind of information to prepare us for our meetings with our federal legislators. It started with the Council of Urban Boards of Education, CUBE, on Saturday and continued through Monday afternoon. We were given an education on the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, ESEA, also known as the No Child Left Behind Act, NCLB, as well as improving the academic achievement of the disadvantaged, also known as Title I, and the Individuals with Disability Education Act, IDEA. We were also told about FAST, new legislation that would fix American schools today. This bill would provide $30 billion for renovation and repair of existing schools. All these acronyms affect Pennsauken students. While it is all about funding, funding is what we use to educate Pennsauken students. We found out that ESEA is slated for a vote this year. Of course, it was also slated for a vote last year. The National School Boards Association, NSBA, is hoping for additional funding as well as relief from some of the more draconian penalties that surround NCLB. Title I and IDEA impact Pennsauken directly. IDEA, when first passed, was promised to fund 40% of the cost of school districts for special education. Right now, it only funds approximately 23%. There are a couple of bills that we require Congress to fund the IDEA to 40% within the next 10 years. This, of course, would mean more funding for those districts like Pennsauken that have significant special needs population. All this training was put to good use on Tuesday when we went to Capitol Hill to meet our federal legislators. All the New Jersey attendees met with Senator Menendez's staff as well as Senator Lautenberg's staff and told them what issues are specific to school districts in New Jersey. School board members that were from Camden County met with Congressman Rob Andrews at the Capitol. Congress was in session, but Congressman Andrews made time for us. He told us that it is possible that almost everything that we are asking for would be cut, not increased. seemed that education is not as important as defense when it comes to the House leadership. He pegged the cuts of about 3% across the board and told us that Pennsauken should factor this into our upcoming budget. One of the important items that we told all of the legislators was that the Budget Control Act of 2011 would cause automatic cuts to IDEA and Title I. Appropriations would be cut by 7 to 9% across the board. We also pointed out that due to fiscal year differences between the federal government and New Jersey school districts, in 2013 we could see a decrease in these appropriations of up to 18% if the Budget Control Act was enacted. We also asked that any legislation passed that included charter schools have the requirement that the local Board of Education have approval authority. Another item was burden of proof when it comes to special education. There was a Supreme Court decision 3 years ago that reaffirmed that the burden of proof was on the parents when it came to IEPs. If the parent wanted anything different than what was on the IEP, they had the burden of proof that what the school was not in the best interest of the, not the best appropriate education. Because there were no federal guidelines, the court allowed states to change this. New Jersey is one of the few states that felt the need to put the burden of proof on school districts. This means more visits to administrative law judges and more costs for school districts. One school district reported that the cost for defending one special education case was $22,000. Federal legislation would reverse this additional cost to New Jersey school districts.
Thank you, Mr. McKenna.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I may, on behalf of the chair, Bernie, in his absence, has asked me to make a report for the Public Relations Committee. For the past few months, as you know, Bernie and I and Superintendent Martinez has been meeting and hopes to revise our mission statement. And a mission, vision, and belief statement has been developed. We've also, Mr. President, seen certain talk in policy committee meetings about revised mission, vision, and belief statements, as well as a preliminary budget discussion. So with that said, Bernie felt comfortable enough to make a presentation to the board and submit it for discussion purposes. And with that, I'll leave it with the superintendent to, I guess, formally present the mission, vision, and belief statement.
Thank you.
Ready?
Ready? We can do our new business, or we can do it now? Either one is fine.
Okay. We'll do it now. So before you, you have two documents. One,
Drafted this.
okay. So the first document is a document that has 5 bullets. You've seen it before, beliefs. And then another one is one that has vision, mission, and belief statements. A vision statement is one that sets a direction on course. The mission statement acts upon that direction. The committee has discussed the direction and mission for, possible direction and mission for this district and for the board. However, as we talked about before, or if you've learned before 2 weekends ago, the vision statement and mission, as well as the belief systems, they evolved through a series of sources of information, which encompass the responses of teachers from the high school, from questions about how do they see students from Pennsauken be successful, what does that really mean, and they provided descriptions for 4 questions. We also looked at a vision statement from an early vision statement that was from previous vision statement for this district, the 90s. The board also had a retreat around 2009 where the goals and the mission had to do with being competitive and that there would be diversity in courses and individual learning plans, and that we have communication, positive attitude. So those big bucket statements came out through a series of responses and different sources. So at this time, I'd like the board to consider the following vision and mission statement, and more importantly, the belief systems that are for us. And that is that we should have a belief system around the potential for children, for our kids here at Pennsauken, that they become innovators of the next generation, and our responsibility to ensure that we're educating all students to their fullest potential, as it states there. And that we foster an expectation for high performance. It also dictates that we require adopting a positive attitude that drives a belief system for high quality education. And that we should provide supports so that students can be successful regardless of their circumstances. And that's a belief statement. A belief statement that really supports what this district has historically had in the mission statement is about diversity. And that is that diversity serves to strengthen, that our strength is in our diversity, and that it enhances learning, and that our belief system is that the individuality and uniqueness of all school community members will be fostered and celebrated. I mean, everyone's important. The third one is accountability. And that is that everything that we do centers around making decisions that are in the best interest of all students by aligning our vision and mission with policies, budgets, guidelines, curriculum, and district performance data. That means that we're taking a look at all of those systems, aligning them, and that what we do in our decision-making revolves around in their best interests. And that our belief around accountability is that students should be afforded a highly effective educator. That means that we expect teachers to be highly qualified through our process as well as performance, and that they should be afforded differentiated instruction because it's research-based practice that states that if we produce instruction in different ways and understand different ways of learning, we support student performance and success. And that includes alternative ways of learning. And that the last statement is a rather important statement. That is, that we understand that the current disparity in academic performance between groups of students can and must be eliminated. And all that being said is that there's an achievement gap that we hear a lot. That's the discussion. The different subgroups that we learned about when we had a presentation about the data